Every 5 years, Europeans go to the polls to decide who they want to represent them in the European Parliament. Reflecting Europe's vast human mosaic, those elected come from many different backgrounds and political ideologies. We come together, all 736 MEPs, to work for the citizens of Europe, some 500 million people in 27 different countries. In the last 3 elections, the European People's Party emerged and prevailed as the leading political force. So how do we in the EPP Group represent our voters in what is a very complicated political landscape? I'm Mairead McGuinness, an Irish member of the European Parliament. I belong to the European People's Party, the EPP, and in this short video we want to show you how the group works in Parliament. Helping me to do that, I'm joined by a friend and colleague, Ivo Bellet from Belgium. He's in his 2nd term in Parliament, just like myself.
Yeah, and the EPP Group, our group, is the main political group in the Parliament. We consider ourselves as a political family. We have the leadership in this Parliament, but also in the European Commission and in the European Council.
In fact, 3 members of our family lead the 3 main institutions of the European Union. Herman Van Rompuy is President of the European Council, Jerzy Buzek is President of the European Parliament, and José Manuel Barroso is President of the Commission.
There are 265 members of the European Parliament in our group, coming from 26 out of the 27 member states of the European Union. Here in the European Parliament, the EPP Group chairman is Joseph Daul. He is assisted by Presidency, a Bureau and working groups on issues ranging from agriculture to economics, environment and regional policy. This is our main group meeting room. Here we meet regularly, not every day, but regularly, in order to discuss the key issues that are on the agenda of the plenary sessions. In those discussions, we hammer out our approach to political issues and legislation, on how we'll vote as a group, and who we will propose for leadership positions in the group, as well as in the Parliament itself.
At the very top of the EPP Group, there's the Presidency, and it's meeting right behind me here today. It's composed of the chairman of the EPP Group and 10 vice chairs heading working groups and other areas of parliamentary activity.
They include budget, economy and environment, neighbourhood policy, legal affairs, foreign affairs, treasury and communication, parliamentary work, relations with national parliaments, Euro-Mediterranean dialogue, and a think tank called the European Ideas Network.
The Presidency is the main decision-making body of the EPP Group, but it's a little bit more complex than that, because the Presidency also sits down with the heads of the national delegations of all the EPP Group, and together that combination make up the Bureau.
The Bureau includes leaders of the EPP national delegations, as well as EPP office holders in the European Parliament and its committees.
So how does all of this group structure work between working groups and various meetings? Well, the best way to describe it is to take a piece of legislation, and one that's going to affect each and every one of us: consumer protection.
The European Commission came forward with its proposal on consumer rights and consumer protection, and this area of legislation is within the merit, within the responsibility of the committee, the Parliamentary Committee on Internal Market and Consumer Protection.
And then what they do is select one person to actually handle the report. He's called a rapporteur, but we're going to actually talk to the man who's responsible for consumer protection, my colleague Andrew Schwab. What's a rapporteur?
I mean, the rapporteur is a person in the Parliament, more especially in the committee, who has to manage the whole file with the Commission and with the Council and with colleagues.
And what does that actually involve?
I mean, first of all, it involves a high number of talks and of meetings where you have to assess the chances, the challenges, the deficiencies of the proposal as it came from the Commission.
Do you dissect each and every paragraph, every item of the proposal? Do you have to go through it in detail?
Not at the beginning. At the beginning you get the first impression of stakeholders, of member states, sometimes all of them, sometimes only a few, and you get the feeling where the problems are, and then with the time you go into the details, for sure.
And how difficult a process is it to take a file as big as consumer protection and bring it to its conclusions?
I mean, this file took nearly 2.5 years, and therefore it's very difficult and it's a long process. But I mean, given the fact that we had more than 2,000 amendments of different colleagues in different committees, you must all read them and you must all understand them before coming to conclusions, and that's the job.
Andreas, this whole process has taken more than 2.5 years now. What is the result? What is the outcome of this process?
I mean, first of all, we can really conclude that we have improved seriously consumer protection all over Europe, especially for off-premises contracts and distance contracts within these times of internet are very important and crucial to consumers. We have improved the withdrawal period where consumers can withdraw from a contract in the internet. We have improved the information requirements, the information that consumers have to get before they conclude the contract, and all these points show that we have done a good piece of work.
So here we are, we're inside the group meeting of the European People's Party in Strasbourg. Now this is where we actually meet together to discuss all the various reports that are coming up for vote and to look at details of various amendments and how we're actually going to vote on each of them.
Yeah, indeed, what we are discussing in these groups are the reports that are on the agenda for the plenary vote tomorrow, and it's for the draftsman of the group to explain to us which legislation is on the table, which are the changes that are proposed, and of course also which is the state of play of the negotiations with the other political forces.
So there's always a lively exchange of views, sometimes more lively than others, but at the end of the meeting we come to a final decision, which reports to support, which to reject, which amendments to support and which to reject, and we do that under the leadership of the group chairman. Reaching these decisions is not easy. Like a family, it involves building consensus within the group, taking into account sensitivities in different member states and strongly held views of individual members. Beyond our political family, we work with other political groups to finalise legislation. So there you have it. That's how a piece of legislation actually gets through the European Parliament. And we've also showed you the role of the EPP, the European People's Party, the group we belong to. We're the largest force in the Parliament and we represent 500 million citizens looking after their interests in the European Union.